Talking to you again today from Emmanuel United Church in Waterloo, Ontario. I again remember growing up on a farm in southern Ontario, and in my family there were 6 brothers and sisters. And I remember one day after a very heavy rain, the fields were just full of deep, thick mud. And there were 4 of us there, and for whatever reason, the youngest one decided to go out into the field. Of course, he got stuck. Well, the remaining 3, we laughed, and then the next one went out to try to save that one. And of course, that one got stuck. And then the 3rd one went out, and finally the 4th, until we were all stuck fast in the mud. We could not move. We did not know what we were going to do. Of course, it was at that very moment that my father returned home from work. He pulled into the yard to see 4 of his children stuck in the mud. And also at the same time, my mother came out of the house. And I remember my mom and dad standing there looking at each other, then looking at us, and then they started to laugh. My mother even went back into the house to get the camera, and she came out to take a picture. I have no understanding why they would want to preserve that moment that reflected the intelligence level of their offspring. Perhaps it was to keep us humble in later life. In any event, I was wondering the whole time, how are they going to save us? We're really stuck here. They're even bigger than we are. They're really going to get stuck. How are they going to do this? Well, my dad, he went and he got these long wooden boards and he laid them down end to end, one after another, and then he walked out onto the boards, and then he saved us one after another. He set us free. He picked us up and put us back on dry ground. Now, I don't know why I enjoy telling that story. However, I am amazed and amused that each of us children thought, oh, I won't be so stupid as the last one to get stuck in the mud. The mud will treat me differently. And also that the real answer was present all the time. Those boards were just as available to us as they were to my dad. Anyway, what I really wanted to talk with you about today is from Galatians chapter 6, verse 2, where Paul says, bear one another's burdens. Now you might ask, well, what on earth does bearing one another's burdens have to do with getting stuck in the mud? This. Jesus came preaching, announcing, proclaiming the kingdom of God. That is what Jesus did. He came telling everyone, listen, the kingdom of God is present. It's right here, right now. And other people would say, well, tell us more about this kingdom. And Jesus would reply with, the kingdom of God is like this. And then he would tell them a story, a parable. But the story contained things from their everyday life. He did not tell any stories about getting stuck in the mud. But he did tell them stories about sheep and shepherds and lost coins and bread and vineyards, and a man had 2 sons and lost one. He told them stories that they would identify with, things that they would recognize, and that was important for them to know that this kingdom was no fantasy. It was not once upon a time, long, long ago, far, far away. No, instead, this kingdom is right here, right now, and we can live from that kingdom. So Paul comes along and speaks to his churches, in this case Galatia, and he's telling them this is what the church is about. You are a little kingdom community. You are to live out of this wholeness. You are to support one another. You are to encourage one another, to help heal each other. And today I believe Paul would speak to our churches and tell us that churches are more than just nickels and noses. They're about more than just money and numbers. We're about more than just competing with other churches. Rather, again, we are to be these communities that give others a glimpse of the kingdom. We are to support each other and at the same time together discover how we can serve the rest of the world in compassion and justice and acceptance. If we can do this, if we can live out of this kingdom, out of this wholeness, then people will see what this kingdom is about. If we don't, we will not be set free. Instead, we will always be stuck in the mud. Thank you.